Hello, Namaste, my dear friends. It's so great to be back. I wanted to make a little introductory yoga video just to gently bring us all back into practice. But before I begin, a very heartfelt thank you to Jessie for keeping our group together. I'm very grateful to you. Thank you. So, let's begin. I will meet you on your mat in a nice seated position. Take your time. Remember, use any props that you need as we come into our practice today. I'll perhaps be doing a little bit more talking in this video than we may do in our usual practice, just to reintroduce some basic concepts of the yoga practice. Why do we begin a practice in a seated position? One, it's really fun to have a starting and an ending point to observe. So what I mean by that is that when we first sit in our yoga practice, it's really nice to observe just the physical and emotional comfort level that we have and compare that in an hour when we finish our practice. Secondly, it's a really nice way to begin to quiet the activity in the brain. Because we're in a comfortable, stable, seated position, and remember that means you can use props, you can sit in a chair. Our mind is not distracted by other physical or emotional activities, so we can begin to quiet here the thoughts. We begin with chanting. Why do we begin with chanting? One is just a purely aerobic exercise. It's beginning to bring into focus your breath and your attention here in the brain. The other reason is that we're harmonizing vibrations. Okay, what do I mean by that? We are made up of cells. We know from 7th grade biology class that all cells vibrate. They all have a certain frequency. In the body, you have the liver cell, kidney cell, heart cell, skin cell. They all have a little different vibration because they're differentiated cells. By chanting, that physical manifestation of making a sound, which in itself has its own frequency, right? We are beginning to harmonize all those differentiated cellular vibrations. When we do that, what's happening? We are beginning to quiet the mind, the activity here, tune out distractions, and come into an awareness of our true self without all the clutter around us. So that's why we chant. So, let's begin. Hands are gently resting on our knees, palms open. Let's bring our thumb to our first finger. Tuck the chin in. If it tends to come out a little bit, relax through the hips, relax the ankles. And close the eyes and breathe. This is the first part of beginning to quiet the activity going on in the brain, whether the messages are physical, that I'm uncomfortable, or yay, I feel good, or whether the messages are, shoot, I left the tea kettle on. Let's just start to quiet them. Bring the focus to simply breathing in and out. On your next inhale, bring the hands to heart position, palm to palm, thumbs touching the middle of the chest. Relax the elbows down. Lengthen through the spine. Gently drop the shoulders as best you can. All together sharing Om chanting. Sometimes we call it Omkar chanting 3 times. Together, take a breath in. Om. And let's practice together a familiar chant. It's a chant giving honor to all the teachers before us. It goes, Om Hrim Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. 3 times, followed by Shanti. Let's begin. Take a breath in. Om Hrim Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Hrim Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Hrim Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Enjoy this really nice feeling of peace and tranquility that's going on around you right now. You know, if in your practice you feel really good at this point, just stay here. You don't need to do a million sun salutations and other asanas and pranayama. If you're already there, if you're there in your practice where you feel peace, quietness, tranquility, and you just want to sit here and meditate, then go ahead and make that decision. If you're not quite there yet, then let's open our eyes. Exhale, release the hands, and let's come to a standing position. Go ahead and face the computer. We're going to go through, again, some of the basics of Tadasana, or mountain pose. So go ahead, come to your feet. Let's have our feet hip-width apart. As you come into position, one of our teachers, our beloved teachers, taught us not to look at our feet, but just feel the big toe, the little toe, inside, outside of the foot, the heel. Rock back and forth a little bit, gentle knees, you don't want them locked. And just find that nice balanced point on your toes. You may want to lift the toes and put them back down. Once you're starting to feel comfortable on your feet, let's roll out the knees and the hips. Okay, what do I mean by that? I lift the arch, bringing the ankles gently towards one another. At the same time, I do not lose contact with the big toe, the heel, outer sole of my foot. As I do that, automatically I feel a little bit of tension so that my knees roll out so that they're straight over the ankles, and I feel a widening and opening here of the hips. The opposite is this. When your knees are coming towards one another, you actually feel even a closing here in the pelvis a little bit, right in the hip points, right? As I lift the arch, not locking my knees, I feel a nice opening through here. Hands are hanging down by our sides. Let's shrug the shoulders up and back, gently bringing those shoulder blades towards the middle spine. Hands are by our sides, palms facing the thighs. My hands are open at this point, but they're not stiff. So I feel a nice stability here in the lower pelvis going down to my feet. I feel nice relaxation through my shoulders. Gaze is forward. Check your chin. Make sure your head is not coming forward. We have a tendency to do that, especially as we get older. Let's bring it back. Soft gaze forward. All right, now did you forget to breathe nice and deeply and relaxed? The chest is more or less still. There's a little bit more action in the belly and the rib cage. Stand here and breathe. Remember, a yoga practice is not the perfection of the movement. The movements and the breath exercises are simply tools to increase our ability to observe what's happening in our body and to change that awareness from simply the physical gross manifestations of what's going on with ourselves to more subtle and subtle and subtle awareness of our emotions, our thoughts, and then even deeper than that. So if all you ever did in your yoga practice was perfect the mountain pose in terms of awareness, that would be a lovely, lovely practice. Let's sit here and breathe a little bit longer. How do I lengthen my spine, stay grounded, relax my shoulders, and still remember to have a relaxed breath? That takes practice. When I say lengthen the spine, what am I talking about? I'm talking about opening up more space between each vertebrae. I'm talking about letting go of tension in the back and the abdomen. Our spine is supposed to stack up vertebrae upon vertebrae without any real muscular tension. It just happens. But it can only happen if we have stable feet, arch, knees, hips, so that then the spine can rest gently on the pelvis. These are big, heavy bones right here, the pelvis, the pelvic structure. That is going to support your spine. If our head is nicely aligned over the spine, not forward or to the side or back, there will be no tension in the neck muscles or the shoulders to hold the neck on top of the spine. All right, let's begin some movement. Open up the palms. Inhale, arms up. And exhale down. Simple. My awareness is on keeping grounded and relaxed shoulders. Again, inhale up. And exhaling down. This time, lifting the chin up towards the sky. Inhale up, lift the chin, look at your hands. Exhale down, release the chin, and come down to your chest. Let's do our best to lift the chin at neutral when our hands are horizontal, and as it continues up, the chin comes up, the neck back, as we look at the hands. Same thing on the way down. As you exhale, chin gently comes down, reaches the neutral point when your hands are right parallel to the ground, and then as your hands release to the thighs, the chin hits the chest. Okay, that's very important that that neutral position is hit at the same time that you move your arms so that they're right on the line with your mat, because we're going to be doing further exercises, and this neutral position of the head is important. Let's practice it all together one more time. Open up the palms, inhale up. Exhale down. This time, as I inhale and bring my arms up, once I hit that neutral position with the head and the arms right on the line, as I continue the inhale, I'm gently going to bring my head to the right as my arms continue up. As I exhale, I release the palms down. When my hands are right on the line of the mat, that's when my chin turns forward. I'm in neutral position. Continue the exhale, and the chin comes to the chest. All right, let's do it on the left side together. Open up the palms. Inhale, come up, hitting neutral. Keep inhale, look to the left. Reversing. Exhale, hands come down. Head is now neutral, facing forward. Continue the exhale, chin on the chest. Right side, inhale up, head is neutral. Keep inhaling, look to the right. Exhale, release the hands. Head now is forward. Continue, exhale, chin on chest. Left side, inhale up. Exhale down. Right side, inhale up. Exhale down. Last one left, inhale up. Exhale down. All right, switching it up. As I inhale, I bring my arms up. I'm on the line, facing forward. As I exhale, I do a spinal twist to the right, doing my best to keep my hips squared forward and my arms nicely opposite and in the same plane. So as I'm still inhaling, I'm turning to the right. There's a tendency for this left hand to come forward. Let's do our best to keep it in the plane and shoulders relaxed. As I exhale, I come back to the neutral position. Continue the exhale, release the hands to the thighs, chin comes down. Left side together, inhale, arms up. Keep inhaling, let's look to the left. Exhale, release back. Hitting the neutral plane, continue, exhale, release chin. All right? Right side, inhale up. Continue. Exhale, release. Got it? Left side, inhale up. Continue the inhale, spinal twist. Exhale, release back. Hitting neutral. Release down, chin down. One more time. Right side, inhale up. Exhale, release, return. Left side, inhale up. Exhale, return. Hold here. Nice, simple inhale, exhale. Arms come over our head, lifting the chin and releasing the chin down, like we did in the very beginning. Ready? Open up the palms. Inhale, arms up, hitting neutral, and now looking up. Exhale, release down, hitting neutral. Come back down. One more time. Inhale up. And exhale down. Don't lose awareness of your stable base. Coming up onto our toes, same thing. Inhale up, looking at your hands. Hold here. Exhale, release. All right, if you found that challenging, and personally I did, let's keep our gaze neutral as we do this. That way we can have a focal point or a jurisdiction to help us keep our balance. Ready? Open up the palms. Inhale, arms up. Gaze is neutral in front. Oh, much better. Drop the shoulders. Let's stay here. Now what's interesting here is my awareness is I'm keeping the base stable, keeping my spine nicely stacked up over my pelvis. Same time, dropping the shoulders as best I can, opening the armpit to the outside. Do my best not to let my rib cage come forward. When the rib cage comes forward, you're pulling your lower back out of alignment. Sorry, I lost my audio. Let's do it one more time. The awareness is I'm keeping your spine stacked up underneath your pelvis. Now, sometimes when we come up onto our toes, because of tightness in the joints and in the muscles, when we come up onto our toes, we tend to lean forwards or backwards or even stick the butt out for balance. That, of course, is going to mess with the alignment of your spine. So, if you find that happening, don't lift so high up on your toes. Lift a little less, but maintain this nice stable line and groundedness through your toes. That's more important, because as we're lifting up onto our toes and lifting our arms up, we're also trying to release tension in the back. And you can only release tension in the back if you're stable from here down. Okay? So that's the awareness part of this movement. Being aware of where we are physically and energetically as we lift up onto our toes. Let's begin. Ready? Open up the hands. Inhale, come up. Hold. Make your adjustments. I find that when I come up, sometimes my hips come forward. So as I get into this position, I really do a whole review again as if I'm in Tadasana. Toes, heels, arches, knees, hips. Relax tension through the back so that I can lengthen the spine. At the same time, I'm letting my shoulders be relaxed. Because if they're tense, again, you're throwing out the alignment of the vertebrae. Oops, rib cage came out a little bit. I'm bringing it back in. And let's release. Take a big breath in. And exhale, gently come down with control. And release. Lovely. As we go through some very nice, slow, mindful sun salutations with some of the extra movements that I've introduced before, the goal of the movements and of the sequence is not to hit the most perfect lunge or perfect Bhujangasana, Cobra pose, but to refine the awareness of your breath and your movement and do our best to be focused and not daydream as we go through the practice, okay? So don't worry if you're hitting each pose perfectly. As long as you don't hurt yourself by doing something a little wonky with your joints, you're fine. The emphasis is on awareness. I'll meet you in Tadasana at the top of your mat. You know how to get into Tadasana now. Just a reminder, remember, I cannot do knees, chest, chin, or Ashtanga Namaskar, so don't look at the computer and copy me. You know how to do it. Alrighty, I'm in Tadasana. Soft knees, soft gaze, soft breath. Nice and slow, follow my cues. Let's begin. Open up the palms. Inhale, arms up. Look at your hands. Hands together, exhale to your heart. Now this is a wonderful movement to ground yourself, center yourself, and start being aware of what you're doing. Let's be mindful of every breath. Coming into the back bend in steps. Inhale the arms up. At the top, drop the shoulders, ground yourself. Take a big breath in as you lengthen through the spine, stabilize through the hips. Exhale, only the arms come back. As the arms come behind you, there's a tendency for the shoulders to come up. Relax them. Take a breath in. Let's lengthen again. Stabilize the base. As you exhale, drop the head, find the back bend. I'm not crunching through my lower back. I'm still extending out, up and behind. Don't let go of your stable base. Hold here. If your neck is bothering you, go ahead. Bring your head back to neutral a little bit. Relax through the abdomen. Coming out. Inhale, come back to your neutral position. Mountain pose, arms extended up high. Now, before I even think about doing my forward fold, I check my position. Am I nicely stacked up? Good. Let's come into our forward fold with bent knees. Hands together. Take a breath in. As you exhale, bend the knees. And now simply come into a forward fold. Nice and slow. We're taking it slow today. I like to keep my back and arms extended for as long as I can till I come down to the ground, and then I gently bring my hands back in line with my toes. Tuck the head. Doesn't matter if your knees are still bent. It's the first one of the day. So you can have your knees bent, resting perhaps your torso on your thighs. Tuck the chin to feel a really nice lengthening from the crown of the head to the base of the spine. There's a tendency to lean back in this, so find that center point once more over your feet. All right, let's think about our shoulders. Bring them behind you. Don't let them droop down by your ears. Moving on. Remember how we would come into a supported warrior 3 before our lunge? To do that, I place my hands on the mat. I lift my head, which causes my back now to lose that roundness and have a nice straight back. From here, I simply shift the weight to my left foot and raise the right leg behind me. Square the hip points down. You don't want your hip to be open facing the right. Both hips are squared down, holding myself in a nice warrior 3. As I exhale, I gently bend the left knee a little bit, bringing the whole body down. Right toe touches behind me. Now remember, before we come into a lunge, I like this nice pyramid pose. So I straighten both legs best I can. Right heel is down. Hips are still squared. Hands are in line with the front foot. Now, if you can, have a nice straight back. Coming into the lunge, take a breath. As you exhale, you bring the right knee down. Relax those right toes down, but push them into the mat. Coming into your lunge, make sure your hips are still squared forward and down. Look at your knee and your ankle. Now for some, you want to keep this nicely squared up, 90-degree angle. If your joints permit, maybe the knee will come over the ankle. As long as you do not sacrifice the squareness of your hips. That's important. Here we are in a nice lunge. You can keep the head in neutral position, right in line with the spine, or you can look up. Coming into the first downward facing dog. As you inhale, step that left foot back. Exhale, come into your downward facing dog. Holding here. It's a short count because as we exhale, we gently come down to our knees And let's stay here in tabletop before we do knees, chest, chin. Again, remember, I can't demonstrate it. Knees, chest, chin literally means your knees, your chest, and your chin are touching the mat. Hands are gently in line with your shoulders. Ready? Take a breath in. As you exhale, come down to knees, chest, chin. Take a breath in. As you exhale, release the body totally down onto the mat, getting ready for Bhujangasana, Cobra pose. Inhale, rise up to Cobra. Very technical pose here. Lengthen your legs down the mat. Feel the back of your toes. Drop your shoulders towards your spine. We're shining the heart here. Let's hold and enjoy. Remember our breath here? It's more felt through the rib cage than through the belly. Practice some of that nice rib cage breath where you feel the ribs expanding out to the sides. Coming into downward facing dog, which we will hold for 5 counts. As you inhale, I'd like to come into a plank. Exhale, push back into your downward facing dog. And hold. Let's stay here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Looking at your hands, coming into a right foot lunge. As you inhale, you bring the right foot forward. Exhale into your lunge. Again, take the time to look at the alignment of your knee and ankle. Square the hips. If you can, hands are in line with the front foot. And then do your best to shine the heart. Remember, the left foot behind is active. I'm still bringing a light pressure of bringing the foot into the mat behind me. That activates this left leg. It's not just hanging around. It's activated. Stepping into Warrior 3. Take the left toes, curl them under. As you inhale, lift the left knee up, which helps to shift the weight forward. Take a little jump up and come into a supported Warrior 3. If your left hip started to open, let's bring it down, square it off. Continuing, exhale, let's come into a forward fold. And rising up. Bend the knees, extend the arms either to the side or in front. And then inhale, stand up. Stay right here. We're not going to do the back bend yet. Let's go in steps. I'm in a nice balanced Tadasana. Getting ready for the back bend. As I inhale, I lengthen through the spine. Exhale, bring the shoulders behind me. Inhale, lengthen again. And exhale, find the back bend. Coming back out, inhale, release. Coming back into our mountain pose. Stack your spine over the pelvis, hands together. On your next exhale, release the hands down to your sides. All right, that was the right side. Let's do the left. Ready? Open up the palms. Inhale, arms up. At the top, hands together. Exhale to your heart. Steady yourself for your back bend. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, relax the shoulders. Steady your base. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, arms behind you. Inhale, lengthen. Steady the base. Exhale, drop head, back bend. Hold. Continuing on. Inhale, come back to center. Hands together, getting ready for the forward fold. Take a breath in. As you exhale, bend the knees. Start your forward fold. Take as much time as you want here. Take a few breaths, okay? We're going slow. And let's all meet in the forward fold. Again, it doesn't matter if your knees are bent or not. I'm really not worried about it. Remember, I told you, your hamstrings will loosen, will lengthen all on their own in time. Don't need to push it. What I would like to get here is the feeling of the seat bones pointing up towards the sky. So I want to release in the upper hamstring here. And I can do that with my knees bent. I can feel that release here. So if you happen to have some tightness behind your knees, don't worry about it. That will also relax with time. But let's think about opening up through the hips. Drop the head, bring the shoulders back towards the spine. Oops, I see that I started to lean backwards a little bit. Something we want to check every so often. Coming into a supported warrior 3 with the left foot. Shift the weight right, and let's lift the left foot behind us. Square off the hips. So again, the left leg behind us is not just hanging around. It's active. I'm using my glutes and my hamstrings to lift that leg behind me. Feel a little bit of tension there, even as I'm allowing the left hip point to drop down. My right standing leg, I'm also not just dropping my weight into the mat. I'm keeping it active by lifting the arch of my right foot. Moving on into pyramid, take a breath in. As you exhale, gently bring the left toe down, left heel down, square the hips, try and bring your left heel to touch the mat, lengthen the back, try not to round the shoulders. You may have to come up onto your fingertips like I do. Nice lengthening all through the Achilles tendon, through the calf, through the back of the leg. And let's move on to the lunge. Take a breath in. As you exhale, go ahead, bring that right knee down. Square the hips. Check out your alignment and hold. So I'm really opening up through the left hip here, through these flexors here. Downward facing dog. Inhale, step the right foot back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Hold here for an inhale. As you exhale, gently come down to your knees. Hit the tabletop position. Knees, chest, chin. Take a breath in. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. As you exhale, release the body down to the mat. Set up for Cobra pose. Inhale up to Cobra. Remember, we're shining the heart. We're not crunching our lower back, so think about extending forward and up. Feel your strong base through the toes, long legs. Feel the breath through the rib cage. Find that awareness. downward facing dog through a plank. So I like to curl my toes under, inhale up to plank, and then exhale and come into downward facing dog. The resting pose, it's still active, pushing through my shoulders so I have a nice open armpit, relaxing through my seat bones and top of the hamstring. Hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lunge. Look at your hands. As you inhale, step the left foot forward. Exhale, find your lunge. It's okay to do a little bit of fidgeting in terms of finding the right awareness of opening the hip. And if that means you need to move your right leg a little further back or bring it a little bit forward, if you're feeling some tension in your knees, go ahead, find the position that is good for you. As long as your hips are square, okay? Coming into Warrior 3, supported. Curl the right toes under. Lift the right knee up. Now shift your weight forward and bring that right leg behind you. Square off the hips. Try and keep your spine straight. On your next exhale, forward fold. Releasing to come up, extend the arms, bend the knees, inhale, come up, hold right here, recenter yourself. Ready for the back bend? Take a breath in and lengthen. Exhale, release, shoulders behind you. Feel your base. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, release back. Coming out, inhale back to center. Hold here. Center yourself again. Hands together. Take a breath in. And exhale, release your hands down to your sides. Hold here. Close your eyes. As you go through awareness physically of where you are in this beautiful Tadasana pose, bring your focus to your breath. That's going to calm the activity that's going on in your brain. And exhale, release. Very nice. Let's come down to the mat. On your spine, please. Just lay down. Relax. All right, let's just go through the basics of laying down on your mat. Boca arriba, or spine. Now, for some of us, and I really mean us, like me included, laying down on the mat is one of the most challenging poses for me because of different musculoskeletal issues. So, let's go through it. As I'm laying down here, we'll start with the feet. Feet are generally pointed out a little bit. They're more or less in a neutral position. They're not pointed, they're not flexed. We're just letting them be. Now, depending on how tight your calf muscle is, of course, that's going to affect the position of your foot. Don't worry about it, just let it be whatever it is for you. As our feet are nicely relaxed, and I feel contact, for me, more on the outside of the heel, that means that I feel a little more contact on the outside of my calf, and my knee is rolled out. For me, that's very relaxing. As my knee is rolled out, that means that my hips are also open to the outside. If my hips and knees and feet are nicely relaxed, that should mean that my lower back is nicely positioned over my pelvis. Now, that doesn't always mean it's happening, because I may have conscious or unconscious tension through the glutes or in my lower back or rib cage, which is causing me to have more of an arch in my back, which is going to throw off my rib cage and cause some tension in the shoulders. So what do I do? If that happens to be the case for you today, go ahead and put a block or a blanket underneath your ankles, calves, knees, or even thighs. It's going to be different for each person because we each have a different skeletal position, all right? So don't be shy about using those props. You want to feel contact everywhere. Well, you know what I mean, not everywhere. But you want to be comfortable. So you might look like this, or like this, whatever's good for you. All right, once you've established that from the lower back down you're feeling good, let's think about the upper body. If our shoulders are tight, our pectorals, chest muscles are tight, our shoulder, the back of our shoulder, will not lay comfortably against the mat. And that is like the worst feeling when you can't get comfortable there, because then you're introducing more tension through the back and the neck. So what do? Generally, you put a blanket underneath your head. So you find what's comfortable, what height, and where. Some people like their shoulders to be free and just have their head lifted a little bit. For others, you may want the blanket underneath your shoulder points and then a little higher for the head. You want to raise the head a little bit. So again, play with this and find what's comfortable for you today. Now, I find, because I have more of issues in my shoulders and my wrists and my hands, that the shoulders go down, but look, my hand doesn't touch, all right, because my elbow doesn't open up. It doesn't have the extension. So what do? I like to put a little blanket right here. So now what is happening? Now my shoulder can really rest comfortably. My elbow is fine, but I don't have to think about holding up my hand or wrist because I have a prop for it. So be creative. You can use all kinds of props. All right? We're sitting here. We're laying down. Gently bring your hands to your lower belly. And simply breathe and bring your awareness to the movement of the belly against your palms as you breathe. Remember, at the beginning of class, I said that we would be reviewing some of the basics of yoga practice. You know, in terms of anatomical alignment and structure, you can get that from any teacher, and it's all over the YouTube and the web. But what is nice to do in a group, whether it's in person or over Zoom, is just to bring back and remind ourselves that the reason why we do poses is for awareness, to increase our awareness of what's going on inside our body and to quiet the mind and quiet the distractions. And being able to totally relax the body on the mat and simply breathe is a gift. And it's one that I find very challenging, but I'm very grateful for that gift. So that's why we spend time with ourselves doing nothing. It's one of the hardest things to do. All right, let's challenge ourselves. Can we keep this nice, quiet, mental attitude that we've had and extend it to a few movements? Go ahead, release your hands down to the mat, palms up. Let's put our legs closer together. Let's activate the legs by gently bringing our ankles into a neutral flexion. Even here, I'm going to lift the arch, bring a little more attention to my knees, and opening through the hips. Coming into wind-removing pose, or Bhujangasana, on the right side. I'm nice and relaxed from the head down to my pelvis. I'm starting to feel a little activation from my pelvis down to my big toe. Left leg is going to stay exactly where it is. I like to put my hands right now on my hip points so that I know that they're square, they're pointing up. And on an exhale, bringing the right knee towards the chest. All together, take a breath in. Exhale, contract, and just bring the knee up. Remember, when I do that little pelvic tilt, I contract the abs first. At the end of the contraction, that's when I do that little pelvic tilt and the knee just floats up. All right, my hands are still on my hip points. They're square. Perfect. Bring your hands to your knee. And as you exhale, bring the knee towards the chest. Now, when we do this movement, do your best not to introduce tension into the neck or shoulders. Use your biceps. As we do this movement, we may feel a little bit of tension in the left hip. Try and relax through the left hip point. And hold. Bringing the chin or nose towards the knee. Take a breath in. Exhale, contract, and lift the head. Why do I contract the ab first? A lot of methods say inhale and bring the head up. I like to exhale through the abs because that stabilizes the core here. And then I feel very nice and comfortable about lifting my head up. And as we exhale, gently bring the head down. Exhale again and release the right leg down to the mat. Hands again are on our hip points. I feel nice and squared. Let's do the opposite side. Take a breath in. Exhale, contract, and then gently bring that pelvic tilt into play, bringing the left knee up. Hands come to knee. Exhale, knee towards chest. There may be a tendency for your extended leg, the right leg, to roll to the outside, meaning that the knee and the foot come to the outside. Let's bring it back so that the toes and knee are facing up. Relax the shoulders. On your next exhale, raising the chin or nose towards the knee, take a breath in. Exhale, contract, and raise up. Now, if your shoulders also came up, let's bring them back down. If there is an issue with the knee joint, and it doesn't feel good to have your knee bent this much, remember you can always put your hands underneath your thigh and bring your thigh towards the chest like this. This This is absolutely fine. To release, take a breath in. Exhale, release the head. On your next exhale, release the foot, and let's bring our hands back to our hip points. Coming into a nice spinal twist to come towards the end of our practice today. Release the hands to the sides. Now, look at your hands. Are they in line with your shoulders or are they a little higher up? Just check. Do your adjustments. All right. Bringing both knees up over our hips using that pelvic tilt. Take a breath in. Exhale, contract, feel the tilt, bend both knees. Knees are over our hips. Take a breath in. As you exhale, knees float to the right, you look to the left. Hold here. Try not to fidget. Do your best to stay focused on what's happening right now, not letting any distracting thoughts come into play. If they do, gently put them to the side and focus on awareness of how you feel, what's happening, movement of the breath. Coming to the other side, take a breath in. Exhale, contract, tilt, float knees to center, continue to the left side. Again, once you get in position, try not to fidget. Just let it be. You may feel a little bit of tension in the hips or the glutes or the back or the shoulders, but try and be nice and quiet. And as you breathe, your body will respond by relaxing. Just be patient, give it time. And let's come out, take a breath in, exhale, contract, tilt, come back to center. Exhale, release the legs down. Palms are still up, but let's bring the hands a little closer to the body. And let's stay here in Savasana. Hold. I said I would keep this class to an hour, so if you can stay in your Savasana and enjoy it, please do. But if you have a time constraint, let's come out of Savasana by gently bringing movement back to our toes and feet, ankles, knees, hips. Even as I'm bringing movement back into the body, I'm doing my best to keep my breath soft and do my best to be aware of that breath and its movement. I'm also trying to stay focused on the present movement of what I'm doing and not thinking ahead to what's going to happen in 5 minutes. Go ahead, move your fingers, hands and wrists, elbows, shoulders. Spine starts to move, head starts to move. And all together on an exhale, let's go ahead and roll over to one side. All together, take a breath in. As you exhale, push yourself up to a seated position. Take a moment to find that comfortable seated position. Take a moment to just revel and enjoy the comfort level of the seated position as compared to when we first came to our mat. Yay! Eyes are closed, hands gently just resting on our knees or perhaps in a yoga mudra. Closing the class, inhale hands to heart center, sharing the Omkar chanting one time. Take a breath in. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Exhale and bow down to the teacher within. Inhale, gently come back up. Slowly open the eyes. Release the hands down. Thank you, everyone. Namaste. Great to be back. It's great to see you. When we get started again in January, we're going to take several weeks just to review and remind ourselves of all the different nuances and details of our practice, but hopefully we'll get into a nice flow. So everyone have a wonderful holiday, and I'll see you soon. Ciao.